On this short stack, we'll be talking about Action Comics 975. I'm going to tell you if it's any good in 5 minutes or less. There's nothing in here. I fooled you. Action Comics 975 is actually the second part of Superman Reborn. If you want to find out more about the first part, somewhere on here will be a link to my Superman 18 review, which covers that. Action 975 is actually split into 2 parts. The first part, done by Doug Mahnke and Dan Jurgens, covers the Superman Reborn Part 2 story, where Superman and Lois are searching for John. They head to Metropolis to the false Clark Kent's apartment, and they find out that it looks like no one's lived there, or someone's just moved out. They can't find a trace of him anywhere, except when they open the fridge. They open the fridge and it's full of like whipped cream, sugary snacks, all things a child or someone immature would have. Just as the couple about gives up hope of finding John or Clark there, Clark appears, and before Lois can say anything, Clark interjects and says, "Where is John?" The false Clark starts to talk to Superman and talks about how, oh, John will be forgotten just like he was forgotten, how Superman forgot him, and how important he was to Superman. We're then treated to several splash pages of the false Clark Kent turning into different Superman villains. He turns into Lex Luthor, Brainiac, Doomsday, Mongol, and each time he's saying, "You know who I am, tell me my name." And eventually, Superman and Lois both figure it out. It's none other than Mr. Mxyzptlk. The fifth dimensional imp tells Clark that he was forgotten. They're supposed to be best friends. They always play this game, and yet Superman somehow forgot about him when he was captured, and he didn't come to find him. So he's going to make it just like John disappeared. Superman goes, "No, you won't get away with this. I'm going to find my son." Mixie goes, "Who?" And he leaves. And the end of our first story has Superman looking at Lois and goes, "We're going to find our son. We're going to find John." And Lois goes, "Who?" The second part of Action 975 is written by Paul Dini, who of course is famous for Batman in the Animated Series and Superman in the Animated Series, and drawn by Ian Churchill. And this picks up with John and Mr. Mxyzptlk talking in the fifth dimension. Mixie is basically playing Mr. Exposition, talking about how he was captured by Mr. Oz and how he got free. Of course, every 3 months, Mixie plays a game with Superman where they try to outwit each other. Superman always wins, but this time when he came to Metropolis, he was instantly captured. And as soon as he's captured, he lays back into a puff of smoke and he goes, "You know what? That's cool, Mr. Oz. You think I'm going to be interference in your plan? Whatever. Superman will come after me. He always does. He's my friend." Well, what Mixie doesn't know is that doesn't happen. And then we find Mixie in his prison cell, and he's been counting the days, and he's saying, Superman will save me. We have this understanding every 3 months. It's been more than 3 months. He's got to know that I'm not there. What's going on? But finally, the fifth dimensional god snaps, and he says his name backwards, which is Kiltipsism, and he says it with enough force that he blows out his cell and he's able to escape. But once he escapes, he makes his way to Metropolis and decides that he needs a disguise. And he fully convinces himself that he is Clark Kent. He disguises himself with all of his godly power into a humanoid Clark Kent. And he resumes his daily life at the Daily Planet and everything he usually does. So Mixie completely believes himself to be Clark Kent, but then he finds out that Superman has gotten a son, and there's this whole Superman family, but he's not part of it. Superman's best friend, and yet he's been forgotten about. And so he snaps, and in that moment he remembers who he is, and he devises a plan to take John away from Superman. The rest of this issue is John trying to get away from Mixie. Mixie gives him a chance to go home by saying the magic word, and there's a million doors, and they'll lead anywhere, but there's one door that will lead right back to his house. John, being very smart, being the son of Superman, figures out what the magic word is. It is Tattlepur, which is a callback to earlier in the issue where we find out that Clark tells John bedtime stories about Mixie, but uses the name Purple Hat. John gets home, and he finds out that Mixie is there waiting for him. And Mixie goes, "I said you could go home, but I said you couldn't stay there." And so he's going to hold him hostage until Superman finds him. And that is where Action 975 leaves off. So if you're looking for the best Rebirth book, and if you're looking for a really good arc to jump onto Superman with, this is it. Superman Reborn, Superman 18, Action 975. Action 975 is $3.99 this week because it's a big anniversary issue. It's double sized. It's totally worth it. Go pick it up. Alright guys, that's going to do it for me here on the Short Stack. As always, for more Comic Plunder, for more Short Stacks, remember to like and subscribe to the Comic Plunder YouTube page. And sound off in the comments. Let me know what you think of this story. Let me know what you think I should read next. What books are coming out that you guys want to know are good or bad. Of course, I'll be covering the Superman books most of this month, as well as the Unworthy Thor at the end of the month. But after that, the floor is open. But I'm going to leave here now. I got some stuff to do. I'll see you guys on the next round.